Scout, a dependable, reliable, and compact everyday companion you can depend on. The Scout from JG is not a new design. It's been out for quite a few years and has been discontinued for a while. But don't worry, the Scout V2 is coming back. From the overall simple construction and elegant design, and the careful combination of materials for the styling of the Scout, it's no doubt the Scout is one of my personal favorites. It's a no-nonsense design that does what a knife should do: cut things well and carry well. The size and placement of the pocket clip and the overall weight and smoothness of the finishing of the materials makes this knife a real pleasure to carry. Other models that Jason has made in the past, first starting off with the Rover, the Trapper, the Ranger, the Ranger XL, some other crazy version of a Ranger, and to be discontinued, the Gunstock and the Arrow, to fully now be replaced with reproduction of the Scout V2, which will be featuring a liner lock construction. So let's meet the maker. Meet Jason. Yep, this guy right here. Now Jason is not only an accomplished athlete and hunter, but he's also a very accomplished custom knife maker. Jason started making knives in 2014 and starting off with the Ranger as his first knife design. In 2015, he already released the GTI lock, which is the tungsten insert to increase the life of a lock bar, which is his own innovation. Most people don't even realize Jason makes his knives completely 100% custom handmade. The only other additional help that he gets is getting the blades cut in water jet to save some time. The Scout gets its styling cues and functionality design cues from some of Jason's favorite knives, starting off with, of course, the original design of the Ranger and the Benchmade AFCK, also the Spyderco Military, and the Deshorn in Vubu. How does it carry? As I'd mentioned earlier, the construction and materials and location of the pocket clip makes it carry very well. It's very light, and it sits low in the pocket. The space given behind the clip makes it work with pretty much any kind of pants you can throw at it, and the ramp works really well for single-handed holstering. So how does it open and close? So one thing I can say about knife guys is they do love to flick their knives open and close over and over. Despite the unpopular feelings on nylon washers, the Scout has amazing action, especially after it's broken in over the years. Even the ducks are amazed, guys. It's smooth and it deploys quickly with perfect detent, and it is tuned so nicely and Loctited and secured that I've never had to take this thing apart or tune it. Also featuring a single thumb stud for deployment. So how does it cut? The blade is a great size on this one, and it features a full flat high grind, and it's made of Thor's Damasteel. The full flat grind tapers at the very top for max cutting performance. The Damasteel has a great edge retention property, and it is also very popular in kitchen cutlery because of its stainlessness. The profile has an acute point, and the blade also features a nicely sculpted set of jimping rows for traction on your thumb. The plunge grind is so clean and crisp and defined, complementing light reflections along with the spear point swedge up at the top for the ultimate aesthetics. So how's the fit and finish? The fit and finish is absolutely flawless, guys. The construction is tight and every surface inside and out of the knife has been carefully finished. All the edges have been carefully chamfered almost to a micro level. The knife is just nice and clean and feels tailored for my hand. The fiery carbon fiber and the raindrops and the damasteel makes me smile every time I look at this knife. So now it's time for a tabletop wrap-up.
Alright guys, so let's do the tabletop wrap-up. So welcome back to the Knife Box channel. I'm Alex, and if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon. Anyways, so welcome back. So the final thoughts on the Scout. Honestly guys, I know I've said a lot of nice things about this knife, and I really mean it. You don't have to see it the same way that I do, but it's just, it does everything really well. And I think the combination of doing everything really well, as far as the carry, the cutting capability, the durable materials, how fancy it looks, the dressiness of it, all of that stuff in combination with the fact that I've owned it for 2 years, haven't had to do a single thing to it except just clean it on the inside without taking it apart, just goes to show that this knife is made for the long haul. And that is what I love about it. This is a knife I'll be able to hand down to my daughter, and she'll be able to hand down to her kids. I mean, you know, it's almost like the Sebenza story, right? Like the knife built like a tank, made to last, easy to work on. So that's kind of this perspective I have with the JG Scout. Now, the other thing I really like about the JG Scouts in general, because I've handled a few, is that they all feel really well made. And to the extent that I feel like when Jason grabs any of these knives, that he treats every knife like it's going to be the last one he works on. And just over time, the way that they break in and how smooth they are, it's hard to believe that this thing's even on nylon washers, because I have a few nylon washer knives and none of them have ever functioned as beautifully as this one. And the beauty of nylon is that it's self-lubricating, and it is not something that corrodes. It's good, again, all for longevity. And that's what I like to highlight about the JG Scout. So let's do some size comparisons and kind of wrap this thing up here. So something, I brought out 2 knives that the Scout is based on out of the 4. Spyderco Paramilitary 2, and this is a perfect size comparison because that's kind of a household knife here. And let's bring out the other one, which is the Mvubu. Now the Mvubu is definitely, at first glance, a very different knife, a bit more of a square handle, but when you start to look at the blade shapes, then you start to see some of the design cues, slight similarities. So those 4 knives were some of Jason's favorite knives, and I can vouch that these 2 right here has also served me very well, and the inspiration for the Scout. I think the Scout actually makes a better knives than all 4 of those other knives, and does kind of combine a little bit of everything all together. Just so you can see what it is compared to a small knife, here's a JD Van Deventer pinstripe, and let's compare it to a big knife. Here's a JD Van Deventer Gold. Whole bunch of Westinghouse micarta on the screen here. And some Timascus. It's just a beautiful sight, isn't it? So there you have it. Big knife, medium-sized knife, little knife. So yeah, go out and get yourself a Scout. Now, I know these guys are very difficult to acquire. The secondary market price is crazy on these. I paid about $1,100 for this directly from the maker. I waited 1.5 years and I got on the books through Instagram. So that's how I acquired this one. Now this is discontinued, but the V2 is actually now out, and you can get yourself a V2 through Jason, and I would try to do that by following him on Instagram and seeing if you can land one of the lottos or get on one of his book spots, because he does announce book spots on Instagram as well. So that's the best way to acquire one of these. If you're impatient and you have the money, you can probably find them on the Facebook groups for a whole lot of money. But as far as if it's worth it, that's gonna be up to you. My opinion of the Scout in general is, if it came down to me selling my entire collection and just keeping one blade, I think this would be the one that I would keep. I know that's kind of a bold statement, but it just does everything so well, and that's why I feel the way I do about it. So anyways, I hope you guys found this video informative, and yeah, hope you learned something about the JG Scout, and we'll see you guys all on the next one. Bye now.